Welcome back. My name is Monty Henry, owner of DPL Surveillance Equipment. And there's three distinguishing things that separate us from the competition. And we always like to highlight those three distinguishing things as part of our introduction to the live videos, product introductions, etc., service announcements, whatever they may be. The three distinguishing things that we want to get right into, for instance, that separate us from the competition are that we have 24/7, 365 tech sales and customer support. We have the largest inventory of items that not only can you buy, but you can rent or lay away as well. And we have the largest inventory of items that where you can view the demonstration videos in our video library. Across the top of each page on our website, there's these links: home, about us, contact us, etc., etc. Find the one that says video library, and you're going to see an abundance of videos where you can peruse the library and check out our latest and greatest surveillance and security equipment offerings there. In addition, we have a significant articles directory on that particular page as well, so you can take a look at that at your convenience. Now, this particular session has to do with, oh, by the way, the last thing, house cleaning, you can call us anytime, 888-344-3742. That's 888-344-3742. Call us anytime. And so this particular session here, this live video, is all about what we call the market for disinformation. Now, just in case that's a new term for a number of you guys, disinformation has everything to do with someone putting out information intentionally where they're trying to misinform you, deceive you, lead you in a direction. In other words, if I put out, let me backtrack. Disinformation is where I'm intentionally trying to deceive you or give you bad information or lead you astray, okay, in one way or the other with the information that I'm providing you. So as compared to misinformation, which is derived basically from misinforming you, that's totally different. I can unintentionally give you bad information, wrong directions, some erroneous bit of information in terms of what I'm giving you. That's misinforming you, which is totally different. Excuse me, I just want to wake up here. So if I misinform you, that's unintentional. Typically, that's where I misconstrue information, and I'm not trying to I'm not intentionally trying to harm you in any way. As compared to disinformation, where I actually know the truth, I actually know that I'm leading you astray, and I'm doing something unethical or immoral. That's typically disinformation in terms of what we're referring to in this context here. Now, so you may ask, what does this have to do with surveillance and or security in terms of my area of expertise? And basically, what that means, you guys, is disinformation is prevalent, particularly nowadays on the internet. There's lots of companies, lots of government agencies who are intentionally trying to give us disinformation on any given topic. Okay, going way back to the days of the tobacco industry, claims where they were saying that cigarettes were harmless, going way back when, you name it, any area of controversy where someone could argue this side or that side, and we later found out that this was intentionally designed to deceive us. Okay, again, so the tobacco industry, going way back when, for instance, they told us that cigarettes were harmless. They knew that nothing could be further from the truth. They actually had researchers and experts who had plenty of information at their disposal. The company's internal documents depicted that they knew exactly what the harms and the dangers were, but again, they tried to misinform us. Okay, they claimed there was misinformation, so to speak, where they maybe didn't know exactly, maybe because the research hadn't been proven, but they knew that their internal research and their contracted out research pointed to the same things, that the cigarettes were harmful to us, and the same with a number of other industries. So as we look from industry to industry, whether or not it's automobile makers, for instance, the latest VW scandal, where the miles per gallon was rigged by way of software. So the companies put on their stickers, the miles per gallon, and the various EPA fuel ratios, etc., knowing full well that they were out of compliance, okay? Because they actually engineered the software on the vehicles so that when you went through testing, this is pertaining to VW, but when you went through testing, you got numbers that looked like you were doing pretty good as far as your fuel consumption was concerned, but that software intentionally rigged or intentionally caused the engine to run better under those circumstances, because the software could detect the difference between testing and real world driving. So we were we were given disinformation in that case, intentionally designed to deceive us. Okay, and as we go from industry to industry, we find that the same thing occurs, and this is particular where we're going with this particular conversation now. Disinformation, believe it or not, is a major industry out there. A lot of companies, a lot of players out there trying to make their percentage, or trying to get their share of this $5 billion a year industry, where, for instance, I could put out enough information on Facebook or on Twitter or on LinkedIn about any given subject, about a certain executive involved with a scandal or something, and you may be inclined to, for instance, not like that person, not want to invest with the company. Maybe you think that they're not environmentally correct or something. So that's another situation where I can submit enough information to search engines, post enough information to social media networks, etc., whereby the top listings or the rankings would show that information that I put in there intentionally to cause other people's opinions about you, about a political process or something, to raise enough fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Okay, this is what we call FUD, F-U-D. If I can raise enough fear, uncertainty, and doubt about any given subject, now all of a sudden you won't be as sure in terms of whether or not you want to believe this side or that side. You'll just want to pretty much not have a major interest at all. So confusion is one very, very good weapon in this age of weaponized information. Okay, so the idea behind what these people are trying to do, again, we call it weaponized information, where you take information and you make it just as lethal as any other weapon, knife, gun, missiles, whatever, because you're intentionally using that as a way of affecting change, of causing harm, financial harm, reputational harm, etc. And that's actually what is happening right now. And there's a particular company, for instance, who's contracting out. Well, there's a number of companies. They're trying to contract out the weaponization of information. Okay, there's a linked document in this particular Facebook post. For instance, it links to a document which has actually been leaked into the public domain. Okay, it was made available accidentally, and now we get a chance to find out what are some of the things that are going on. Okay, so this is a 20-page brochure, and it gives us a very good insight as to some of the tools, the hacking tools, the surveillance products, etc., that government agencies all around the world, in terms of what they're buying, okay, to either keep track of human rights activists, journalists, and reporters. See, a lot of times when oppressive governments want to keep journalists, human rights activists, etc., from getting the word out on some particular type of issue, what they do is they go out and they hire these hacking teams and these different companies to either compromise the person's phone or whatever portable device that they use, or do whatever type of reputational harm by way of these cyber tools typically. Okay, so we can call them hacking contractors, info security, middleman, etc., whatever you want to call them. They're basically doing the same thing, basically trying to change the way we think about given issues and such to sway public sentiment in one direction or the other. There's a number of companies, their names have been exposed for because of various reasons. Either they got sloppy with the way they were handling the relationships with their customers, or maybe their software or malware got into the public hands, and we found out by looking at the code and traced it back. One notable company was called NSO, like Nancy, Sam, Oscar, NSO Group. They were the ones who compromised the Apple smartphones and allowed the tracking capability, copying of text messages, hijacking of contacts, etc. for Apple phones. That was the NSO Group. And then there's the hacking team, and then there's Fin Fisher, Fin. Fisher is FIS. HER, Fin Fisher, one word. So those are three different companies. And then also there's a meeting, an actual conference, an annual conference that a lot of these government agencies attend. It's called ISS World, okay? And at that annual series of conferences, otherwise known as the Wiretappers Ball, that's when all these government agencies, they get together and they take a look at the latest and greatest spy tools. And they purchase these tools and they purchase the services. And from that point on, they're able to execute the things that we see and hear about in the news, where individuals, iPhones, iPads, PDAs, laptops, desktops, servers, etc., get hacked into and compromised, and that's called the informal name is called the Wiretappers Ball or ISS World. Okay, and just so you guys know, I co-run this company with Carolyn Aranda, and she's gonna come in and say hi when just a second. Carolyn, you want to say hi?
Hi, I'm Carolyn. Nice to meet you.
Okay, that's Carolyn Aranda. Occasionally, guys, when you call into our spy equipment company to buy or rent our equipment, you're going to be interacting with Carolyn or myself. We have a company mascot. His name is Lazy Bones. He'll do his best to help you. He's the company mascot. He's a cat, but he'll do his best to help you as well. So getting back into the arena of what we call weaponized information, some of the tactics include, but are not limited to, infiltration operations, ruse operations, false flag. For instance, a lot of you may have heard of that term before. False flag typically means there's a certain type of event that was orchestrated. Like there's a lot of conspiracy theorists, wrongly or rightly, they think that 9/11 was a false flag. I think Hitler, what he did in Germany as far as causing a building to be burned to rally the people to accept Hitler as being a person who could take over and execute his mission and way back when. Vietnam, Desert Storm. A lot of these can be construed as false flags as well. So that's a particular term that you may or may not have heard of, but it's definitely something that seems to be very real. We need to keep and understand that false flags do happen. So let's see what else we want to cover. We got the false flags and disruption of operations, sting operations. We got DDoS attacks. That's one way of keeping a company so busy trying to get back online when they're knocked offline. You bombard a website with so much traffic created by hackers that it's hard to keep the site up and running. DDoS attacks, so that's effective. If you want to discredit a target, that's a typical tool. Write false data put that out onto the internet. Negative information posted on review boards against individuals, officers of corporations. Leaked confidential information put out onto the internet or onto the real world for that matter. Those are some of the tools. Social media, disseminating information onto social media, as I referred to earlier, where you have information being put on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, which can be totally inaccurate, in regards to a movie star, some other celebrity, politician, or important individual or company. That happens as well. And we have all sorts of other particular situations. Companies pay, government agencies pay these companies significant amounts, definitely $2,500 per day, and I think this is in euros, for 8 to 12 weeks. You can have companies, you can have one of these companies, for instance, pollute the internet search results or social networks with all sorts of false information. Or again, discrediting the target, etc., etc. So go into you may want to go into click on the link and look at the article and see that a lot of this information is typically used. A lot of these tools are typically used to intentionally deceive you and cause you to, again, sway your opinion one way or the other in terms of believing something that could be totally inaccurate. Okay, so again, I think this is very timely and very critical and should be very valuable information for a lot of you guys, particularly if you have like one source of information that you typically like to get your information from, whatever that may be. You should always balance out, for instance, and double check, where am I getting my information from? Am I relying upon just one source? And am I double checking that? How credible is this one particular source of information? And why am I not weighing it against other sources, if it's the New York Times, if it's, or is it Facebook only? Or is it Twitter only? Or is it whatever, Wall Street Journal, you name it. Sometimes we have our favorite places where we get information, but at the same time, we probably want to get a different perspective in terms of where that information is coming from, just in case the editors, the writers, or the corporation itself has a certain bias, towards giving us a certain type of news. We always want to double check that. Okay, so again, in this age of quick dissemination of information, we can't always hold the celebrity bloggers and the different reporters who somehow managed to get onto the internet, because they got a laptop or a smartphone, and now all of a sudden they're a journalist or reporter. Well, that's well and good, but we always want to consider, whether or not these people have a vested interest in giving us a certain angle, a certain slight on conversation, on an article, on some particular story, for instance. So again, objectivity is very important, and will continue to be very important. And if I can give you an analysis of a situation, if I'm a blogger or a reporter or a journalist and I don't have a vested interest in misleading you, that's usually well and good. So we always want to double check. I always want to make absolutely sure to cross-reference and to double check the facts and to not take it for granted where we're getting information from, because as I'm pointing out in this particular video here and the accompanying article, this is big business, okay? And a lot of people are definitely making a lot of money. So this market is worth $5 billion, okay, and growing. So if it wasn't a growing market of government agencies, if people weren't buying this and paying for it, then the market wouldn't exist, right? But government agencies and corporations and individuals are indeed buying it. And we definitely have to remember that, it'll be very easy for corporations, etc., to tell us this food is safe, these cars are safe, because because they have a vested interest in selling the product or selling that service. So we need to make sure that we double check as much as possible, and hold people accountable, okay, for the stories they write and the things they tell us and the things they sell us, the products and services that are offered. Let's cross-reference, double check, try and see whether that other people have written stories that counter this particular story, or whether or not there's reviews on a product or a service that can give us some more insight as to where the product or service, or whether or not it's any good or not. Okay, so, but that's particularly what I want to accomplish with this particular Facebook Live. So that's particularly what I wanted to accomplish with this Facebook Live video. Just want to make sure this is recorded properly. To get this out there, to let you guys know, disinformation is big business, and a lot of companies are intentionally trying to deceive us and mislead us in the wrong direction. And they're using social media. All your favorite social sites are being used as a way of targeting and getting bad information out there to cause us to think this way or that way. Okay? So as we say when we conclude every particular session, bring a friend, a relative, an enemy, associate, anyone, bring them back, invite them to participate, comment, share the video with them after it's recorded, and let's see if we can shed some more light on in terms of what's going on here, okay? So I appreciate it when you guys join us in these particular sessions, and we look forward to having you again in the next session, okay? If you have any questions or needs for spy gadgets, bug detectors, X-ray baggage scanners, narcotics detectors, GPS trackers, listening devices, Nanny cameras, give us a call at 888-344-3742. That's 888-344-3742. We're open 24/7, 365, and we have lifetime guarantees and warranties on all the products, okay? So you guys take care. Thanks. Bye.